evening is there any antenna you would like to build? A few announcements real quick. Give people time to text check in and get things ready. Wednesday night, open mic. A lot of fun there, 8 p.m. Thursday, 20 meters at 10 a.m., 14.317, one of my favorites. And Friday night, got the Youth Net. That is at 8 p.m. And then we got the Morning Brew, everybody's favorite, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., mostly every morning, every Friday. So that's that. Stand by. All right, from the bottom up, we got the
Delta
text check-in.
Whiskey November Alpha.
RTC, Terry, Austin, Texas. W2RBC, Randy, West Seneca, New York. K6AAN, Mike, Valley Springs, California. KK4SED, Les, Claremont. WA2UUS, Buffalo, New York. KA8BYU, Roy, Blaisdell, New York. And KD2JPP, Bob. Top of the list, Bob. Is there any antennas you'd like to build? And good evening.
Hey, good evening, Roger, and everybody else on the net. Actually, there's no antenna I'd like to build. I would be happy as a clam to get the one that's sitting in my garage up on top of my house. That would make me a very happy man. So you can put me down for no. Everybody have a good week. And we'll back off and listen.
Thanks, Bob, for joining us. And I'm the same way. I have none planned. And let's move on to Roy, Blaisdell, New York, KA8BYU. Good evening, Roy. Deja Vu, KA8BYU. You there, Roy? Deja Vu, Vu, Vu. Alright, let's move on to Buffalo, New York. WA2UUS. You there, Joe?
Good evening. Good evening, Roger, and everyone else on the net. I've been thinking about finally putting together my two ham sticks on 80 meters one of these days and get on the air there. I wish everyone a nice week ahead. Be well and be safe. And thank you, Roger, and thank you, Vicki.
Thank you, Joel. Have a wonderful evening. Those ham sticks I've heard are very well. I've talked to a lot of people on the 20-meter net and such with them, and they do great. You got to finish her up. Thanks, Joel. Let's move on to Les, Claremont, Florida. KK4SED. Good evening, Les. And is there any antenna you'd like to build?
No more antennas. I'm in a association where it doesn't allow them, so I got mine in the attic, and I got one spare to go with it. So no more building. KK4 SED, back to net.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Les. And the last one I bought was the Hex Beam, and I just don't think I could build that. It would have been straight in, and then it probably wouldn't have worked. Who knows? Thanks again. Let's move on to Mike, Valley Springs, California. K6AAN. Good evening, Mike.
Well, hi there, Roger, and good evening, everybody on the net. That's negative as far as antennas. I'm antenna and radio rich. Got everything I need, so don't want to clutter it up too much. It's not a radio station. So back to you. This is K6AAN.
You have a wonderful evening there in California, and we'll be looking for you down the line. Let's move on to my buddy Randy, West Seneca, New York, W2RBC. What about it, Randy? Is there an antenna you'd like to build yet?
Good evening, Roger, Dick, Vicky, and everyone on the Tech Net. I'd like to build a preamplified receive-only magnetic loop antenna. Be fun to experiment with and be a really nice complement to a wire antenna. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2RBC.
I'm sure it would work well. This is coming from a guy that's built some antennas. Thanks for joining us, Randy, W2RBC. Let's move on. Austin, Texas, N5RTC. Good evening, Terry.
Good evening, Roger, Vicky, Dick, and everyone else on the net. I gave up building antennas a long time ago, so put me down for none. N5RTC, back to net control.
Oh, Terry, I thought you'd be have one in progress. You have a wonderful night, Terry. Always good to see you in this room with your smiling face there. Let's move on to Brian. Hello, Kentucky, AC4BR. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Roger. Didn't realize I was already that far up the list, but greetings to Dick and Vicky and everybody else on the net. Well, actually, I guess to answer your question, and I apologize, I don't think I'm staticky, but I am mobile at the moment, but I think it's abbreviated, was it EFOC? It's a new type of antenna or new to me anyway. It's like an end-fed half wave, except it's an end-fed off-center dipole, which I didn't even know that was a possibility. And so, might one of these days try to build that one as a comparison to an end-fed half wave. Anyway, hope everybody else has a good evening, and hopefully doesn't have to deal with HOAs, which I can't stand with the passion. Have a good evening, Roger, and everybody else. AC4BR.
You sounded just fine, Brian. Just motor along there and be safe. And, yeah, that's a bad three-letter word there, HOA. Thanks for joining us. Let's check out Bill Hobbs, New Mexico, KI5PMI. Good evening, Bill. And is there an antenna you'd like to build?
Good evening, everyone on the net. Roger, not right now. Put me up for none, sir. Hope everybody has a good night. KI5PM. Net.
You have a good night too, sir. Thanks for joining us. This is KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida. Let's move on to my buddy Joe here, neighbor by Sorrento, Florida, KO4FRR. I'm just trying to think, is there an antenna that he's building or anything? How about it, Joe?
Well, good evening, Roger. This is Joe, KO4FRR. Well, I have dreams, and I want to, but I think any antenna is the right answer on this one. This is Joe, KO4FR. Talk to you guys in the Zoom room.
too. All right, that does it for the text check-ins. Now we're going to do some general check-ins. Anybody, anywhere, come with your call sign twice and slow.
Kilo Romeo 4 Foxtrot Tango X-ray. Kilo Romeo 4 Foxtrot Tango X-ray.
Zulu Sierra 2 Echo Charlie. Zulu Sierra 2 Echo Charlie.
KI5 USR Kilo India 5 USR. Uncle Sam's ready. VK3 AWA. VK3 AWA. November 1 Whiskey Echo Bravo and 1 WEB.
Kilo Juliet 5 Charles Lima. Kilo Juliet 5 November Charles Lima.
Kilo Echo 4 Lima. Kilo Echo 4.
All right, I think we got a nice little list there from the bottom. J5 NCL Dale, Sugarland, Texas. N1 WEB Webb, Collarville, Tennessee. VK3 AWA Darrell, Paradise Beach, Australia. KI5 USR Joe, Sugarland, Texas. ZS2 EC Tom, Port Elizabeth, South Africa. And KR4 FTX, Savannah, Georgia. This is KO4QMM, your net controller, and our question is there any antenna that you would like to build? It's up to you, Chris, Christopher, or Chris, whatever you like.
This is Chris. An antenna I'd like to build, looking at a mag loop, since I do live in an HOA, really noisy. I think it would help me when I receive, so I wouldn't have to go outside and do POTA all the time to play on the radio.
Sounds like a good idea to me. I've talked to some people with those loops and HOAs and stuff, and really sound great. It's amazing what you can do little and sound good to get out of some of them places. So good luck with that, my friend, and we'll be on the line. Check out eastcoastreflector.com. That's what this net is originating from. A lot to see there. Let's go to Tom, Port Elizabeth, South ZS2EC. Good evening, Tom. Or,
Good morning to everybody. Local time here, 4:23 or 4:24 a.m. Wednesday morning. Well, if I could build an antenna for me, a vertical for 160, but that's a dream. Don't have the space for that. Back to the Roger. That is 2 Echo Charlie.
thanks for joining us, Tom. You always sound good, and look forward to hearing from you down the line. Let's KI5 USR, Joseph or Joe, either way you like it. Sugarland, Texas. Good evening. And is there any antenna that you'd like to build?
Kilo India 5 Sierra Romeo, KI5 USR, Well, I recently I moved into a assisted living facility, so I don't have a lot of choice anymore. Over at the other house, I have inverted V up, and I like to work 40 meters, and but I like CW. So I'm kind of stuck with V-band in here over the internet, and I built a 3-element Yagi here. That's what I'm on right now. It is sitting beside me in the living room, if you call it that, whatever this room's called. And looks like I'm just kind of stuck on UHF for a while. I don't know. KI5USR back to net.
Well, it sounds like you're figuring it out there. At least you're able to get out there and talk to some people, and I think you'll keep working on it, get back to 40 meter, and join us on the Saturday morning 40 meter net. And thanks, Joseph, for joining us. Have a great evening. Let's move on to my buddy Daryl, Paradise VK, Australia, VK3AWA. Daryl.
Good evening, Roger, Vicky, and those listening. No, Roger, nothing on the horizon. That's not to say tomorrow I'll wake up and have some sort of brainstorm and build something. But no, nothing planned, Roger. Thanks for the net and doing a great job as always. See you later. Back to you, Roger.
Thanks for joining us, Daryl. Sound good too. Have a wonderful morning, day there. Let's move on to Webb, Collarville, Tennessee, and 1WEB. Also good to hear him on the 20 meter nets on Thursday morning. Good morning, Webb, or good evening, Webb.
Thank you, Roger and Dick and Vicky. And, well, Roger, you can say good morning on Thursday for the 20 meter net. I'll check in for that for sure. And there's 2 antennas that come to mind. But put me down for a J-pole. I've always wanted to build one of those copper pipe J-pole antennas. The second antenna on my list would be a magnetic loop, because those are pretty fascinating too. But tonight it's going to be a J-pole. And 1WEB back to the net.
Those are really popular, I gotta say. I've heard a lot of people that made those. Thanks for joining us, Webb, and we'll be looking forward to hearing you. Hope 20 meter net might be a solar storm noise or something, but we're hoping not. See you there. KJ5NCL, Dale, Sugarland, Texas. Is there any antenna that you'd like to build, Dale?
No, I don't think so, not at this point. I just put up a ladder wire J-pole inside the house. We're in an HOA subdivision, so we can't have any antennas, and I'm just testing this one out and seeing how well it works. KJ5NCL back to net.
You sound very good there. Appreciate you coming in tonight, and check out EastCoastReflector.com if you haven't already, and you'll see what we're all about. We'd like to hear you on some of the other nets, and maybe even show your face in the Zoom room with the call sign. Thanks for joining us. All right, that's the end of that list. Now, anybody who wants to be in and out, or just regular check-ins, come with your call sign, and do it twice and slow for Vicky.
Thanks for doing the net. In and out. Back to you.
Echo 4, Whiskey Mike, Lima. Echo 4, Whiskey Mike, Lima. Bradley and ECR, in and out.
Kilo Echo 2, Charlie, Charlie, Kilo. Kilo Echo 2, Charlie, Charlie, Kilo. In and out.
N2BH, N2BH.
CJM W2. CJM in and out.
Kilo India 5, India Yankee Victor, KI5, IYV, in and out.
Kilo Echo 2, Foxtrot Tango Golf, KE2FTG, in the Zoom room tonight.
KK4JJK. KK4JJK. In and out. All right, let me grab a hold of it here and start from the bottom up. KK4JJK, John, Awful Springs, New York. Thanks for joining us there, John. And we got Mike, Cornwell, New York, KE2FTG. I do believe he's in here smiling in the Zoom room. And we got Robert, Edmond, Oklahoma, KI5IY. Now, thanks for joining us, Robert. Check out EastCoastReflector.com. Same with you, Michael, Westbury, New York, KE2TJ. Oh, you're going to be in, so I'll be right back to you, Michael. Then there's my buddy Bill, Palmyra, New York, N2BH. Matt, Frankfurt, New York, KE2CCK. Where was it? Matt, Frankfurt. Okay, Gasport, New York, Ivan, KE2EGF, in and out. Thanks for joining us, Ivan. Bradley, Jonesboro, Tennessee, KE4WML, in and out. Thanks for joining us, Bradley. Ruben, Fallbrook, California, KD6CWI, W2CGM, in and out. Charles, Selden, New York. And top of the list, Gil, my buddy Orlando, Florida here, neighbor, K4GDS. How about it, Gil? You got any antennas you'd like to build?
Good evening, Roger and Vicki, everyone else listening. Nothing I want to build. I thought once or twice about putting one of those copper J poles on the RV just to hook up to my hotspot, but not sure I even want to get into that right now. So put me down for none. Have a great evening. Thanks for doing the net. K4GDS, back to net control.
Thanks for joining us, Gil, and have a wonderful night there. Let's move on to Ruben, Fallbrook, California, KD6CWI. Good evening, Ruben, and any antenna that you'd like to build.
Roger, KD6CWI, Ruben in Fallbrook, North County, San Diego. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for doing the net, and good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Right now on the projects, pretty much just finishing up the DX Commander, just on the SWR reading. I think basically what I got is, I think, pretty close to the best that I can, and so it's just finishing touches on it to make it a permanent, and install the Messi Pelosi LMR 400 coax on it, and weatherizing it. It'll go underground on a 2-inch PVC drainage pipe. Probably the length would be around 75 feet, but it's 100 feet coax. Then we reset. Next on the list would be an end-fed long wire end-fed dipole. Same antenna that I have, but this is going to be built on the ground up. The balun is coming from Balun Design. It's a 4 kilowatt balun.
There's a model, I think 4134. It's a 4-to-1 and it's a 4 kilowatt balance. And the wire that I'm going to be using is from Davis antennas, and I think it's the 14 gauge long wire that's good for 2 kilowatts, maybe 155 foot long. Coax again will be measured below CE. I haven't measured the coax length yet, and that doesn't need a counterpoise. Counterpoise on that particular antenna is the coax, and there's some KCARK antennas that I still haven't built yet. Probably have 3 different models of 5 watts, a 5 watts, a 25 watts, and a 100 watts. Let me reset. That's a pretty minuscule project to do. K6ARK, just check it out. Check out the site. Those are like grams of weight for summits in the air activation. Probably good for 4 bands at the max, depending on what kind of setup you're trying to do. On top of my mind, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be building a doublet antenna in the future. So happy holidays to everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy life, and God bless everyone and their families. 73 KD6 CWI.
Thank you, sir, for all that, and sounds like you got your hands full. Hope you get it all taken care of there. Have a great evening. Let's move on to Matt, Frankfort, New York, KE2CCK. Good evening, Matt, and is there any antenna that you'd like to build?
Hey, good evening. Good evening to everyone else on the net. I do quite a good fair share of building my own antennas. Most of them are dipoles for all different bands. I did make one that was a bit different out of this TV antenna. That was 2 meter 440 or 70 centimeter. Worked well. And I made that for the purpose of those that are in homeowners associations. So I just wanted to make it for a friend, and it worked. With that, I'll turn it back to Nat. This is KE2CCK, back to Nat, and I'll be out.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. It's always good to help out a friend in ham radio, and really makes the hobby a lot more fun. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Let's move on to one of our net controllers here with the ECR, Palmyra, New York, Bill, N2BH. Good evening, Bill.
Vicky, everybody. I don't really have any plans to build any antennas at this time, but we'll see what spring brings. N2BH.
I love how you New Yorkers already talking about spring in December. Us in Florida, we're still trying to enjoy it for a while, so don't push it, Bill. Let's move on to Barry, New York. KE2FTJ. Good evening, Michael, and is there an antenna that you'd like to build?
Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here. On Black Friday, I bought from DX Engineering, I bought one of those carbon fiber poles. I think it's going to go up 33 feet, and I'm looking forward to stringing up. I've been using NFEDs, but I'm going to try random, dipole, maybe a ladder, and I'm looking forward to a few experiments there. But it's mostly new to me. Back to you, Roger.
Thanks for joining us, Michael. You have a wonderful night, and looks like you're new. Check out eastcoastreflector.com, see what we're all about. Have a lot of fun. We're here every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock, and we'll be looking for you down the line. All right. I don't know if I don't even remember seeing Roger. Ragley, Louisiana, KI5IYV. He was in and out. Good evening, Roger. And let's go to Mike, Cornwall, New York, KE2FTG. Good evening, Mike. And is there an antenna that you'd like to build?
Yeah, that's me again. I will make a comment, though, a quick comment. 2 weeks ago, I tried APRS Thursday, and it was fun. I did it 2 weeks. I'm going to do it again this week, so maybe everybody should do that also, APRS Thursdays. And back to you, Roger.
All right, thanks for joining us. And via text line, Jason, Richmond, Minnesota, N0JMB. Good evening, Jason. Is there any antenna that you'd like to build? Might have been in and out. N0JMB, you there? All right, that'll be a good time to identify myself. This is KO4QMM Roger in Umatilla, Florida, your net controller for the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night Tech Net. Our question of the evening is there any antenna that you'd like to build? Anybody anywhere is welcome to join in. You could be in and out, mobile, or just check in. Come with your call sign, twice and slow.
LLY, November 3, William Lima Yankee.
This is 9Y4DX. 9 Yankee 4 Delta X-ray, Bertram.
November 0, Juliet Mike Bravo, N0JMB.
November 3, Tango Juliet Kilo, DJK.
Kilo 6, Golf Bravo Zuma, K6, GBZ, in and out.
All right, we might as well make it the last call. This will be the last call of the evening to get in and answer the question. Come with your call sign. 4, Romeo Whiskey November, Kilo Quebec 4, Romeo Whiskey November, Huntsville, Alabama, Kevin.
Alpha, KI7, A, Dylan from Vancouver, Washington, in and out.
Golf 6, Sierra X-ray, Alpha Golf 6, Sierra X-ray. I don't know if I am in or out.
Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta. Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta, in and out.
November 6, Golf, Sierra Golf. Kilo, November 6, Golf, Sierra Golf.
All right, from the bottom up, we got Barry, Moss Beach, California, KN6GSG. We got Ray, in and out, Elizabethtown, PA, KC3FGD. He must be getting up early and gardening, although I think they had snow. And then we got Dave, Hillsboro, Oregon, AD6SX. You're in, Dave. And then we got Dylan, Vancouver, Washington, KI7YQA. You're in and out, Dylan. Thanks for joining us. KQ4RWN, Kevin, Huntsville, Alabama. You're in. We had one that was kind of wondering about there. K6KBZ, something like that.
It's Kilo 6, Golf Bravo Zulu.
Golf Bravo Zulu. Now we got you, Tom, Cameron, Park, California. Thanks for joining us. We got Tim, Pasadena, Maryland. JK. And did I said Tim, Tom was in and out, right? Yep. And Jason, Richmond, Minnesota, N0JMB. We got my buddy Bertrand, Trinidad and Tobago, 9Y4DX. And Leo, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, K4ITA. And top of the list, from the text line, Glenn Birdie, Maryland, N3LLY. I saw you up there, Glenn. I should have mentioned you before I went on calling radio check-ins, but you're there now, my friend. Building.
Okay, Roger. Let's see if I don't have any immediate plans right now, but you never know what spring may bring. And also, I want to say hello to Dick, Vicky, and the rest of the crew. So we'll see what spring brings. Anyway, back to you, Roger, from N3.
You got it, Glenn. Have a wonderful evening, and they waved back in the Zoom room. Let's move on to Leo, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, K4ITA. Good evening, Leo.
Good evening, Roger and Vicky. I hope you can hear me well. W4MOT is not connected, so I'm using KF4LZA Eric repeater to Echolink. Thank you, Eric. And, well, I like to build the antenna that I'm building right now. It's a Isochron for 160 meters. It's a small antenna for 160 meters, and I hope it will be done for this week. We're going to have a big contest, CW contest, 160 meter ARRL on the weekend, so I hope to be able to do the contest. And if it works well, maybe I'm going to do the 40 and the 80 meters, same kind of Isochron antenna. Have everybody a great night. This is K4ITA, back to net.
Boy, when you test an antenna, you really test it. You put it to work in a contest. That's awesome. You have a wonderful evening there, and thanks for joining us. Let's move on to my buddy Bertrand from Trinidad and Tobago at 9Y4DX, 108 check-ins. How about that, Bertrand? We got you number one on the list there. Is there any antenna that you'd like to build?
Well, a pleasant evening to you, Net Control. KO4QMM. Roger, this is 9Y4DX. Bertrand, and as you rightly said, my location, Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean. Let me say a pleasant evening to all stations on the East Coast Reflector Net this evening. Hope everyone is doing well and keeping warm. The temperature here is around 78 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going down to just around 76 a little later on. Well, Roger, with respect to the question, I have never built a 20-meter antenna. And that is one of the antennas I hope to put up one of these days once the hurricane season is past. That's it from me. No further traffic. Back to you, Net Control. KO4 QMM. This is 9Y4. Yeah.
Bertrand, you have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us as always. Let's move on to Jason, Richmond, Minnesota, N0JMB. You there, Jason?
This is N0JMB. Yeah, I would probably be looking at like a half-wave center-fed dipole. I just got started a few months back here, and I guess for maybe simplicity at the time or whatever, I just have an HF vertical up on the roof, and you know, it works decent for what it is. Pretty wide-banded, and I guess that's one of the reasons I decided to go with it as a first antenna, but now I'd kind of like something that has a little better performance, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then, yeah, so I'm in central Minnesota, and granted I'm in a little more rural area here. I'm sure it's maybe different in the Minneapolis area, but you know, we have HOA there, but boy, you know, I've been listening to all these nets over the last few months, and I know the legislation and stuff that's trying to get started, and boy, there must be a lot more of them in different parts of the country, because it seems like it's just a real big issue, and I feel bad for you guys, because I live out in the country. I can pretty much do whatever I want within, you know, some reason. So, but anyway, back to net. Thanks for doing the net, and I hope everybody's having a great evening. 73 from N0JMB.
Thanks for joining us, Jason, and antennas are fascinating, that is for sure. You go from the wire antenna, and then you go to the dipole, which is a little bit, you know, aiming or whatever, and then you go to the beams or whatever, and it's just, they're awesome. Let's move on to Tim, Pasadena, Maryland, N3KK. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening there. Right now I'm using a 107-foot long wire with 9-to-1 on that I put together. Works pretty well. But what I would like to put together is an 80-meter quad loop, or also the German quad antenna. Trying to figure out how to get it to fit in the yard or around the house, but it's something I'm looking forward to building, hopefully in the near future. Thanks, and back to net.
Yeah, sometimes them trees are in the way. You never know. Thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful evening. This is KO4QMM, and you are listening to the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Tech Net. We're moving on to Kevin, Huntsville, Alabama, KQ4RWN. How about it, Kevin? Is there any antenna that you'd like to build? Oh, we were doing so good there. You there, Kevin? KQ4WN.
IWN, I'm going to have to call in and out. Something just came up, but thank you for clocking me into net.
Thanks, Kevin. Hope all is well, and you have a great evening. Let's move on to Dave, Hillsboro, Oregon, AG6X. How about it, Dave? You are in.
Alpha Golf 6 Sierra X-ray. The answer to your question is a complex one, because I built, I've got 3 toroids that I put together, and I created my own 49-to-1 unon, and I've got everything kind of wound really nicely the way I want it through with magnet wire, and should handle about 2 kW power capacity, and I got it in a Home Depot utility box, and it's rather weatproof. I have 135 feet of wire. that's going to go to this thing. My only problem is I got to find somebody who's going to climb the damn tree. And back to the other station who talked about an HOA, I worked the Maui fires, with net control for Maui fires, and I put up a 17-foot vertical military antenna in my place that I was renting at the time, and got a $5,000 fine, and I'm still dealing with that. But to solve that problem, I think there's a guy out there in Minnesota who commented, I bought my own house, and it's in the middle of absolute nowhere. Nobody bothers me, so I'm trying to get a sloper, kind of halfway sloper, but I'm a little confused about, I can get at the height of the antenna, but I'm not sure where I should put the actual unon, how high from the ground the unon needs to be. I always seem to miss the tech portion of the frequency here, because I'm in the spinning class, because I'm old and I need to keep moving. So anyways, that's the project. I'll go 6CR X-ray back to net control.
QSL Dave. Yeah, I used two. I got two 49 to 1 long wires. They're inverted L's, and they're only 20 feet off the ground, and they do very well. And the balance are like 2 feet off the ground, and then they slope on up 20 feet. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful evening. Let's move on to Barry. Moss Beach, California, KN6GSG. Good evening, Barry.
Good evening, Roger, and the rest. This is Barry, KN6GSG in Moss Beach, California. And by the way, thank you for hosting, Roger, and thanks, Vicki. Does Vicki ever talk on the radio? As far as the antennas go, I'm really happy with my quarter wave end-fed. Works fine for everything I need, and for the UHF, VHF, I have an indoor J-pole, works just fine. Occasionally have to move it around a little bit. So I'm happy, and so I guess my answer would be no. Anyway, thanks again for being there. This is Barry, KN6GSG, back to the net.
Thanks, Barry. You have a wonderful evening there in Moss Beach, California, and hope you have a nice sunset. That's it for that list. I guess I'll take one more call to anybody else that might have been missed. I feel bad if you got missed. So, last call to get in the East Coast Reflector Tuesday night Tech Net.
20 Charlie 1, Queen Papa, KC1, QPL.
Kilo 5, Tango Delta Foxtrot. Kilo 5, Tango Delta Foxtrot. That's it. Sorry about that. No, we got WLT Scott and John, St. Paul, Minnesota, KC1QPL, and N2ZVN Allen, Kendall, New York. And was there a 5 KDF or something that wanted in there? Yeah, that was Kilo 5, Tango Delta Foxtrot. Kilo 5, Tango Delta Foxtrot.
Kilo Alpha 4, Juliet Alpha Zulu, KA4JAZ, Richmond, Virginia, Alton. N6QDY, N6QDY.
I knew there was a California one we didn't get. They're a little slower out there. coming into the Tech Net. Thanks, David. Sacramento, California, N6QDY. And we got Alton, Virginia, KA4JAZ. W2BLT, Scott, Buffalo, New York, K5TDF, Ron, Houston. I think I got the rest there. Let's go to the top of the list. Alan, Kendall, New York, N2ZN. How about it, Alan? Is there an antenna that you would like to build?
Good evening, Roger. All in the net. Looks like we just snuck in under the antenna wire. Yeah, pun intended. Yeah, actually there's a couple of them. I'd really like to build a inverted L for 160, but really I kind of want to make a long wire too to play with, from 50 kilohertz up to, 500 kilohertz to play on the low bands. And it's all intriguing in time. I'll probably do both, but put me down for inverted L for 160. That'll be the first one. Everyone have a great night, and thanks for hanging out for one last round. N2ZVN, back to net.
That was good, Alan, getting in under the wire. That's for sure. You have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to my buddy John, KC1QPL. Good evening, John. What antenna do you like to build?
Good evening, Roger. Good evening, everyone on TechNet, KC1QPL. I'd like to put up a 5-element Sturba curtain for 80 meters, and I think that would be the mother of all antennas. Back to you, sir. Thanks for having me. KC1QPL, clear.
You must want to get into some of them good old boy nets late at night at 80 meter. You have a good night there, John. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to Ron, Houston, Texas. K5TDF. Good evening, Ron.
This is Ron, K5TDF. I've been looking into building a loop antenna, quite a large one, out of copper, about 3/4 inch copper hard drawn, and haven't quite got there yet, but I'm doing calculations on it. I think this is going to be a really interesting project, to tell you the truth. It'll probably be about 7 feet diameter, 7 to 8 feet in diameter. Anyway, thanks for listening. Back to net.
Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for your answer, Ron. You have a wonderful evening, too. W2BLT, Scott, Buffalo, New York. Oh, you must be new. If your email's good, we'll send you an email. And just having some fun with you there, buddy. How you doing?
Good evening, Roger. You know, I fell asleep in the recliner downstairs, and I woke up. It was 9:30. And I took my HT, turned it on, and I didn't hear a thing. I said, boy, Roger got done early tonight. And then I looked at my phone, and somehow my node got disconnected. But at any rate, we made it in time, and I'd like to build a handheld Yagi to do a little satellite work and, follow the space station around and stuff. I think it'd be interesting, and it's a kind of a simple build for a simple guy like me. But that's it, a handheld Yagi. Have a good evening, Roger. Fine job. This is W2BLT.
Well, Dick, he gets behind the bridge of the Enterprise there, and he just starts pushing buttons and stuff. You never know who's going to get connected or disconnected. Having fun with you there, Dick. Thanks, Scott, for joining us. You have a wonderful evening there. Sounds fun. W2BLT. Let's check out Alton in Virginia. I'd like to try to say that city. Man, oh man, that's a rough one there. KA4JAZ. Good evening.
Net Control and all the other stations. Yeah, the name of the city is Midlothian. Midlothian. And speaking of antennas, after 22 years in Uncle Sam's Army in communications, I really like the military quad loop. It's truly an awesome HF antenna, and I seem to have one in Alabama, but being in Virginia in an apartment, I had problems with doing antennas on my balcony. So I wound up doing a mag loop, MFJ, and a Yaesu ATOS 120, and they work good. They work really well. So it's building one, it takes my mind back. But no, until I get my own 2-acre lot, then I'll worry about building antennas. But other than that, thank you for letting me join, and I'll turn it back over to Net Controllers. Kilo Alpha 4, Juliet Alpha Zulu.
You got it all, and thanks for joining us. And it looks like you're new too. If your email's good, we'll letter, and you can always go check out eastcoastreflector.com, see what we're all about. A lot there to see. Thanks again. Let's move on to my buddy Dave in California, N6QDY. He always has a nice little live streaming in the Zoom room. Beautiful California. What's up, David?
Well, hello there, live stream Godfather. How you doing? Good to hear you. Thanks for doing the net. Hello to Vicky, Dick, everybody on the Tech Net, and everybody in the Zoom control room, N6QDY. I just want to build a simple J-pole for VHF. Just a simple J-pole. That's all. Hey, just letting you know, too, we can talk offline, but I already talked to Joe. Looks like we'll be heading up to Orlando, and I'll talk to you more about that later in the Zoom room. But anyways, hey, keep up the good work, and we'll let you tie the ribbon on it. N6QDY, have a great evening. We'll talk to you later, Roger.
Thanks, David. You have a wonderful evening, too. We'll be looking forward to hearing from you in Zoom. And let's move on to Andy, Cheektowaga, New York, via text line W2AJR. Good evening, Andy. And is there an antenna you would like to build?
Good evening, Roger. Good evening, Vicky, everybody on the net. Yeah, I would love to put up a 160-meter full-wave loop. I hear a lot of guys with that antenna, and they have really, really excellent performance with that, nice and quiet. Of course, they don't have the room. I don't think my neighbors would appreciate it, but someday. Thank you, Roger. 73. Everybody have a great week.
You have a wonderful evening there, Andy. Thanks for joining us. And bottom of the list for the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night Tech Net is Dave from Ypsilanti, Michigan, WB8ODF. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, Roger and Vicky on the heavy lifting side. I have had 3 or 4 people in here trying to show them what ham radio is all about. This net is a great tool that they're looking at right now. So I am going to say I would like to build a full magnetic loop antenna. Magnetic loop. And I will thank you for taking me in before you shut the net down. WB8ODF.
We got your answer. and you have a wonderful evening there too. That's it for the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night Tech Net. Thank you everybody for joining me as the net controller here in Central Florida, KO4QMM Roger. And I'm going to pass it back over to Dick. He has an announcement. So that's it from me, 7-3.
Thank you, Roger. Good job, as always. Yeah, I just want we're going to have an interruption at our Texas Data Center 45225 for about 15 minutes. Probably going to start here in about 5 minutes as soon as the net's over there waiting. So if you're connected there, just stay connected. Be patient for 10, 15 minutes and everything will be fine. So just a heads up. Thanks, everybody. WB to JPQ.
W3CU repeater. The time is 10:20.
3 LL live background fusion.
This is Kilo Delta 4, Yankee Victor Victor, 84 YVV, Jeff in Virginia.